Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1462.
You have to always try to be the best, but you never have to think that you are the best.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. I am so revved up and excited to share a show today with you. A very special guest, Hector Cademartori. Hector's calling in from La Verne, California. Hector Cademartori is an automotive artist who was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina. His interest in motor racing started as a teenager, being influenced by the European greats, including Fangio, Gonzalaz, and of course, Formula One. He's been selling his illustrations and paintings since 1983 after he graduated. His clients include race teams, corporations, magazines, racing organizations, and private collectors. You'll find his artwork in Dan Gurney's All-American Racers office, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, at Laguna Seca Raceway, Club Speedway-Fontana, and automotive corporate headquarters around the world. Hector considers himself a racer with a brush. He also draws and paints, and he raises his Datsun 240Cs, which he affectionately calls the Ferratsun. I think that's after Ferrari. We'll find out about that. Around Southern California, and he also has a 1991 Volvo 740 that he runs at the 24 Hour of Lemons. Of course, we've had many folks on the show here who run at Lemons, even the founder, and Champcar Endurance Series. We'll be back in just a minute to talk to Hector, but first, a very important word from our valued sponsors that make Cars Yeah possible. Winter's here and things can get a little messy. Rain, snow, salt, mud, dirt, and everything Mother Nature comes up with can hurt the finishes of your vehicles, both inside and out. I'm not worried, though, because I've used Covercraft car covers on my rides since 1975. Today, Covercraft offers you a total solution to vehicle protection. They make the best-fitting, finest-made car covers in the world and offer a wide variety of materials, colors, and options that protect your paint and the interior, too. Live where it's sunny all the time? Lucky. Covercraft dash covers and sunscreens are the best. Got pets, messy kids, messy in-laws, or just messy friends? Covercraft seat covers are the perfect fit and the perfect solution for keeping your seats looking new. And don't forget their custom-fit floor mats and trunk liners. They are a must-have for all your vehicles. Your cars, trucks, van, or whatever you drive will say thank you. And I've got a deal for you. During January 2020, you can get 10% off plus free shipping on all Covercraft products. That's right. Go to covercraft.com and use the code YEAH120. That's YEAH120 at checkout. That's covercraft.com and use the code YEAH120 at checkout. Edelbrock has been the name in automotive performance since 1938. Edelbrock designs and builds thousands of the finest automotive performance products right here in the USA for both street and track. From their AVS2 carburetors to V6 superchargers, if it's more power you crave, Edelbrock delivers. Let's talk superchargers. Whether it's an application-specific system or a universal fit, their precision-made assemblies come in multiple stages for a wide variety of makes and models. Their V6 superchargers are dyno-tested and ensure the perfect fit and maximum horsepower torque plus added boost. You'll get huge power gains. I mean huge power gains. Quality construction you can trust and backed by decades of knowledge, Edelbrock is a brand that provides you with proven performance. And I've got a deal for you. This January 2020, you can get 10% off if you use the code CARSYEAH at checkout. Just go to edelbrock.com and use CARSYEAH, all one word, at checkout and get 10% off. Tell them Mark at Cars Yeah sent you. That's edelbrock.com, checkout code CARSYEAH for your 10% off. Hey, Hector, hello and welcome to Cars Yeah. Are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
I have a 5-point harness here
well,
in
good.
my chair, Mark. So I'm ready.
I hope we won't need that. I'll try to keep it between the rails. I'd love for you to say hello to our Cars Yeah audience and tell them a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. First of all, the reason I ended up in the United States of America was because I was always a big fan of this country. I was in Argentina. I was a teenager, and I watched all the old shows, all the old programs, the Rifleman and Bonanza, and and all the great shows, the Lone Rangers and Superman, and well, you know what I'm talking about, and probably you will have to clarify to those under 30 what I am talking about, but
well, that's what YouTube is for.
Exactly. So I was a big fan of this country. Towards the end of the 70s, I had an opportunity to come to this country through a family who live here in West Covina, is a town near Laverne where I live, and also near Los Angeles. Frankly, I was doing this type of artwork in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. I thought, well, the market is not that big, then maybe I should go to the States and see if I could really focus on my automotive art and my motorcycle art. In Buenos Aires, I used to do all type of artwork, I don't know, cartoons, political cartooning, even architectural renderings, besides cars and motorcycles, because, well, the market was not that big. So anyway, early 80s, I moved to the United States, and people will ask me, well, why don't you go to Europe? And, Argentina is a very European-oriented country.
Oh, yeah. When you're in there, you feel like you're in Europe. It's an amazing city. Yeah.
Well, if you're in Buenos Aires and you think you're in Paris or in one of the big... so we are very, very European-oriented, but I was United States-oriented. And so why would you go to Nobody goes to the United States, except when people go to Miami to buy cheap TV sets and bring them to the country or something like that. But I was a big fan, and I knew everything through the programs I was telling you about. And, I knew almost everything, when you move to a place and then you have to make a living, and you realize that you knew about 70%, and the other 30% was the difficult part. But I'm very grateful. This is a wonderful country, and the people really received me and my family with open arms. And Americans are the wonderful people. And anyway, I became kind of a ambassador to Argentina or from Argentina of the United States, because people started knowing a little bit more. In those days, people didn't really move from Argentina, or didn't travel that much. I don't know why. Maybe the airfares were expensive or something. Anyway, and those who traveled went to Europe. So again, I became an unofficial ambassador of Argentina in the United States, and immediately the world of cars and motorcycles, as I said, received me with open arms, and the people here are wonderful. So I am very grateful for this great country.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you came here. I think this is fantastic. And in our pre-show chat, I told Hector that my wife lived in Argentina, Buenos Aires, for about 3.5, 4 years when she was in high school. She loved that place. She always talks about it to this day. Loved the people. So welcoming, and hopes to get back there someday. She wants to take me back there, so one of these days I'm going to get back down there. Before we start the questions here, Hector, tell us one little thing that maybe people don't know about you.
Well, how many people will listen to what I'm going to say now?
Oh, we've got thousands of listeners here, tens of thousands of listeners. So there's gonna be a few folks that are going to hear what you have to share. That's right. Yeah, well, so I'll say it in very softly, so maybe some people will miss it, and they will. Okay. The cat will not get out of the bag, as you say. All right, I like it.
I really use my artwork just to be around racing. I was not an artist. I was an artist, but I really use my artwork, and maybe this will disappoint people who follow my artwork, but I was more interested in being around racing, not about art. So I really didn't want to hang out with artists. I wanted to go to the racetracks and hang around race cars.
Well, this is this is a really cool, interesting side of you, because a lot of people who love the passion of automobiles, and that's what Cars Yeah is all about. People who've wrapped that passion for cars and racing into their careers. Whether you're a writer, you can get involved with automotive writing. You're an artist, a photographer, a journalist, a celebrity. There's all these different ways that you can wrap this passion for cars. So I don't think we need to keep that secret down. I think it's a fantastic way that you've gotten involved with cars and racing. And your artwork is so spectacular. I think it's great. Well, listen, as we continue on your journey, I would love for you to share a success quote or a mantra, some kind of saying that has meaning for you. It's a nice way to get the inspirational tires smoking here on Cars Yeah. So, Hector, I know you love to drive. Take the wheel.
If I have to come up with a quote or with as you said, something that really impressed me was, a couple of things. One was from the great Juan Manuel Fangio. Fangio, who was incredible driver, respected and admired. And one thing he said was that you have to always try to be the best, but you never have to think that you are the best. I don't know if it's a little. I mean, it's a little translation, but hopefully you get the idea that Fangio was a very humble, very modest with the way he behaved and all that, even though he was by far the best of his generation, and that he never gave the impression that he was above everybody else, all the contrary. So I hope I'm translating his quote, but I think you understand that.
Yes.
He said, always try to be the best, but never think that you are the best. And,
be humble about your success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good way of saying it. And the other one that I always stuck with me, and I don't know why, but this is a little bit more mundane. It says, always dress for the job that you want to get, not for the job that you are doing.
Yeah, I like that one.
Or something like I try to remember the exact quote, but I think it was like that. Always dress for the job that you want to get, not for the job that you are doing.
When I just got out of college, I worked at a graphic design and advertising firm, and we were artists and creative people, and so we kind of dressed the part. And I remember my boss one day saying, "You know what? We're going to start dressing like our clients, because that way they'll accept us as more professional." And some of us kind of fought that, like, we got to wear suits and ties, what the heck? But we were dealing with professional business people, and that's what they wore. And it made a difference. They did respect us more. They treated us more like their peers. So yeah, that's the old saying, dress for success. So dress for the job you want, not the job you're doing. Yeah. So what, we're in a new year here. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's 2020, which is incredible to me. I don't know where life is going, but it's certainly going by fast. What do you have going on in your art business that has you excited and fired up in this new year?
My job, it's always very exciting. I mean, I am always doing race cars and motorcycles, and I am around racing people. Everything is exciting every day, not just the end of the year or the beginning of the year or the middle of the year. Everything is exciting. If you really are in our business, especially in racing, it's always exciting because the nature of especially racing is basically controlled chaos, as you know. Nothing is settled, and so that I think that type of chaotic situation gives you this feeling of this adrenaline rush every day. I am always excited about the projects, whether it's a painting or an illustration for a magazine or even a Christmas card. So it's always exciting.
Well, that's the joy of doing what you love. When did you realize, Hector, that you wanted to be an automotive artist? Was there kind of a pivotal point in your life when you went, you know what, this is what I am going to do?
Well, I started getting interested in cars and racing in the late 60s. After towards the end of high school, you are at that age that you start getting interested in certain things, and I always draw, and I was always drawing, and I remember my teachers will call us, Mr. Cademartori, what are you doing? And say, bring me what you're doing, and obviously I was doing a drawing of a car, or the teachers will say, okay, go back, finish, and then give it back to me, and they will keep the little drawings, and I was drawing cars, but also I like the World War II subject matter. I will draw the Sherman tanks and the German Stukas and Messerschmitts and Spitfires and
P-51 Mustangs, sure.
Mustang and the soldiers and the Tommy guns, and so I knew all that. But towards the end of the 60s, I started getting more interested in cars. And then I saw Grand Prix, the movie. And that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw, we went with a friend of mine to see the movie, and I think we went like 8 times to see the movie, because the first 3 or 4 we pay attention to the dialogue and all that, and then the rest of the times we just disregard the dialogue, and we started looking in the backgrounds, and they would say, "Oh, look at that's Lassour's hairpin, and look at over there, that's Ferrari whatever," and so anyway, I think it was 8 or 9 times we went with my friend, with a friend.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool.
Yes, and then that's what really, and then I started drawing cars and mainly cars. And when I was about to finish high school, my dad said, "Well, Hector, if you like cars and everything, why don't you go to the University of Mechanical Engineering or something like that? Those type of careers that will put you in touch with cars and racing." And I said, "Okay, fine." And I think it was a good idea. I thought it was a good idea. Oh my God, what a disappointment. I did the 2 years of mechanical engineer. I could not stand the place. I wanted to go racing. There was nothing racing in mechanical. There were all these books,
not
and
much there.
math and physics. And towards the end of the second year, everything became gray. The university was gray. The trees were gray. The people were gray. Everything was gray. And so I told my dad,
"Not your thing.
I want to go racing. I want to go to races. This is not for me." "Okay, fine. What are you going to do?" "Well, I think I'm going to, I wasn't a mechanic or a fabricator, sponsor or a driver or anything. So, but I had my artwork. So I told him that I was going to go to a local magazine called Corsa magazine in Buenos Aires and see if they had a job for me. So I went there. And they applied, and then my dad said, "Well, that's fine, but remember, you have to make a living eventually with." I mean,
exactly.
these people, they are journalists. It's a magazine. They make a living doing that. They hired me not to do artwork only, but to take care of the photo files. And then because I knew English, I helped translating articles, and then after 6 or 7 months, they just gave me a position as a journalist, and so I started writing, and then they gave me the motorcycle section of the magazine, and I also was doing artwork. So that was my
You're into a career,
the world of racing. So I mentioned to you earlier that really I always wanted to be around racing, and my art was my ticket into the world of racing, and that's why I never really hung around artists or went to art shows or anything. I wanted to be around racing, and
be
that's
at
what
the
happened.
track. Yeah, there you go. Very cool. Well, let's take a short break and say thank you to a couple of our sponsors, and we'll be right back. My favorite collector car magazine is Keith Martin's Sports Car Market. I've been a subscriber for decades. Sports Car Market is the Wall Street Journal for the enthusiast and the collector. It's your monthly must-read whether you dream of owning a collector car, have 2 cars, or 200. Sports Car Market has been around for 31 years, and it's filled with valuable articles, intelligent write-ups, and the latest auction sales. Go to sportscarmarket.com and subscribe today. Plus, you'll get the exclusive SCM guide to restoration shops included for free. At checkout, use the code CARSYEAH and receive a 50% discount on your digital subscription. It's an exclusive offer from me here at Cars Yeah. I'm Mark Green, and I love Sports Car Market magazine. Are you looking for a way to get your products or services into the ears of thousands of automotive enthusiasts around the globe? I can help. This is Mark Green here at Cars Yeah, and I'd be honored to be an influencer and ambassador for your brand in a unique and personal way. 5 days a week, thousands of subscribers and listeners enjoy the Cars Yeah podcast and website. Contact me today and I'll show you how at mark@carsyeah.com or connect with me through the Cars Yeah website at carsyeah.com. You take care of your cars, But who takes care of your investments? Tune-ups aren't just for engines. Updating your financial plan is important too. Your GPS may take you from A to B, but it won't help you on the road to financial freedom. For that, you need a good co-pilot and a very trusted advisor. Chris Kimball, CFP, is just the man for the job. He'll guide you down that road without driving you crazy. For over 25 years, Chris has helped people just like you and me with their financial planning and investments. With a master's degree in financial services, he is eminently qualified, and he's a car guy too. Learn more at chrisvkimball.com or call 866-ON-A-PLAN. Securities through Money Concepts Capital Corp. Member FINRA SIPC. CK Financial Services is not affiliated with Money Concepts Capital Corp. All right, Hector, we are back, and I have a bit of a question for you here. I want you to think back to a time that was a great challenge or even a great failure for you. Walk us through that, but more importantly, what was the learning lesson there? What was the positive lesson that allowed you to move forward in a great way?
There was one thing when I moved to the United States, there was one thing that it took me a while to absorb and to digest and to use, and it was time. In Argentina, people, the way you work, because it's a more unstable, shall we say, situation. Argentina is very chaotic, very very difficult. I think that if Americans would move to Argentina, specifically Buenos Aires, but Argentina in general, they will last about 2 months until they are eaten alive by the system, and then they will just flee and escape
and come back,
and come back. Because of that, when I came to this country, I realized that when you're doing something in, shall we say, September and October, you're really doing something for March of next year, because Americans plan ahead. They give you the commissions. And so that took me a while when I approached companies or things with ideas or with projects. I didn't realize that if I wanted to do something for March, I had to go to the company or to the client in September, October, or November.
Way ahead of the time. Okay.
Well, in Buenos Aires, you don't know what will happen the next week, let alone.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
6 months from
things aren't quite that stable, that organized,
no,
right?
No, exactly. So if I go to meet a potential client or somebody with an idea and I go in October and to tell them that, well, this will be for your celebration in March of next year, they will look at me and say,
like, what? Next year? How can you think that far ahead?
Yes, we're planning for next week. And if we are lucky, next week will still be the plan will still be good. Because the economy, the way the system works in Argentina is very unstable, but I mean we all learn. Look, I lived there for a long time.
This is a big cultural shift for you, right?
That was a big cultural, but as I mentioned earlier, I was so enamored of this country that there were a few cultural things, but nothing major, except for this. Mm-hmm. Time thing that I just mentioned, but I hit the ground. What do you say that? Hit the ground running, something like that. Yeah. I knew almost everything about, and the other thing was that I was fluent in English, and that was a big.
Well, that helps a lot. I used to import a lot of products from all around the world. A company I was with before, and trying to learn to work with different cultures and the way they approach things was quite a challenge. And some of them would get very upset with me when I'd say, well, why aren't the products here? You promised they'd be here. And they'd say, well, why are you so worried about this? And I'm like, well, because clients are ready to buy stuff. I need it to sell, and they're like, well, calm down, relax. Why are you so worried? I'm like, what do you mean? Why am I so worried? So, and then going to Japan for business, I learned a whole nother level of personal norms of how you interact in meetings and things. It was very different. So I find that very intriguing. That's very, very interesting. I know that when my wife came back from Argentina, she had a lot of catching up to do because the social norms were way behind the U.S. and she was in high school. So she got here and she didn't even know about the current TV shows clothing was very different, and everybody's looking at her like, where did you come from, Mars or something? Because everything was so different.
Yeah,
so,
well,
yeah.
The other thing that really impressed me was that it was about the American executive. In this country, you talk to the president of the company, and the president of the company gives you the impression that is the janitor. The American executive was always very, very down
approachable?
to earth, very approachable, very down to earth. While we in Argentina still use the European
hierarchy.
style of hierarchy. That the president of the company will walk through the lobby, and there was a paper on the ground or something on the floor, and then they will call somebody to pick up the
they wouldn't stop and pick it up. Yeah,
the president of the company would just stop by, pick it up, put it in the trash or something, and just keep going. And the same thing with many other areas.
Interesting.
That impressed me a lot. But I wouldn't say approachable. I mean, you can be approachable, but still, but no, not only approachable, but the people were not pretentious or
yes,
I don't know if the word
interesting.
Is pretentious. But I am the president, or I am the vice president
that's
of
beneath
marketing
me.
or something. No, the Americans in general always been like this in general.
Yeah. Do you have a first really special car that's in your life? A first car that you got that you went, man, I finally got this. I've wanted it forever.
Well, no. The first car that I really liked was not mine. It was my dad's, and it was a Ford Falcon. In Argentina, we had the Falcon, but the previous generations, Ford started making the Falcon, but the model that you had here, they started in the 60s, but instead of the Falcon that you had here, the second or third generation, Ford of Argentina started making the first generation, but they changed it and remodeled it a little bit. They ended up really being really nice cars, and my dad one day showed up with a Falcon called the 221. They had the 221 XP with a shifter on the floor, and oh Jesus, it was a rocket ship, and that was really a car that I really loved. And before that, my dad was always a Ford guy. In Argentina, you have the Chevy guys and the Ford guy. So my dad was a Ford guy, and he had a 46 Ford Coupe, a black 46 Ford Coupe. It was beautiful, and my dad would took it to the muffler shop, and he had the exhaust coming out of right under the door on both sides.
The side exhaust,
the side exhaust. But because you would get a ticket if it was too loud, he would have the regular system but the side exhaust had a little plug.
A bypass for the side types. He
will drive to Buenos Aires, and before entering the city limits, he will get out and put the plugs on the exhaust
on the side pipes,
and so he will be legal. So
there you go.
But when he didn't have the plugs, that V8 was beautiful. So
was loud.
So that's another
very
car
cool.
that I really, really enjoyed.
But
it was not mine. They were not mine.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, let me get in your head a little bit, Hector. If you woke up tomorrow and you were a vehicle, what kind of car would Hector be?
Well, I think I would be a Datsun 240Z.
Okay. Why is that?
Because the Datsun's, the 240Z personality is similar to mine. It's simple, easy to fix, it doesn't give you any trouble, and I think I'm like that. I'm like a
very nice,
and I think I'm pretty agile and a little sporty at the same time. So I'm not very expensive. I don't have expensive tastes. So I think
nicely done.
That would be a Datsun 240.
240Z. There you go. Well, we're entering the last lap. I know you like to get out on the track and have a little fun with your 240Z. I'm going to fire off a series of questions and ask you to give our listeners some very quick blips of the 240Z throttle, kind of a lightning round here. So here we go. What personal habit do you believe you have that has contributed to your successes over the years?
I think that one of them is that I don't give up. I don't
persistence,
give up easy.
tenacity.
I'm very persistent. Yeah. I think I'm and then the other thing is I don't get upset with people very easily at all.
Nice. Nice attribute.
So, yeah,
patient.
I'll
call you that as well.
Well, if I don't get along with somebody, I avoid the person and it will not, and I will. And also, I think I always give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't like to rush to judgment and before knowing exactly what happens. And I am always around my circles and the people that know me. They know that I am a diplomat. I am a diplomat.
There you go. If I could wave my magic wand and arrange for you to have a drink or a meal with anyone in the automotive industry, living or deceased, who would it be?
It would have to be somebody from the racing world. And I was very fortunate to have been in contact with my two big heroes. One was Juan Manuel Fangio, and the other one was Dan Gurney. So I wouldn't count them because I had a chance to meet them and talk to them and all that. But I don't know. I'll have to think longer. If we have time, maybe I can answer you afterwards. But I'll have to think a little longer about that.
How about the best automotive advice you've ever received?
The best automotive advice was from my dear friends who helped me with my racing. A couple of them, especially my dear friend Gino Londi, who is a veteran of racing and classic cars. He taught me a lot, and I think that being very clean and taking my time when I work on my cars, and especially race cars, but when I work on my cars, that was the best because not only he told me, but he showed it to me. The way he worked, I learned a lot. Nice.
Great friend to have. How about a resource? Is there a resource that you would share with our listeners that you find really helpful? This could be a website, a supplier, maybe it's an app you use, or it could be a person in your life.
I think my best resource was history, the history books. History will teach you a lot and will help you avoid mistakes because other people have done it. And I'm talking not only about personal way, but also in the institutional way. You see people and institutions, including racing, the racing world, making mistakes that other people made before, and history showed that certain things don't work. And history, I think, is our best resource, not only in a personal, but also in the institutional, even in politics and even especially in racing.
Yeah, I think they need to do a better job teaching the kids these days history lessons so they don't repeat the problems that we've had in the world in the past. Seems like they've forgotten a lot of history. I don't know why, but it sure seems that way. How about a book? Is there a book that you've read that you'd like to share with our listeners you think they should read as well?
The books I read that really made an impact are in Spanish. And short stories in Argentina, they really made an impact. But again, I like to read history books, and especially racing history books. I don't read fiction at all because the real histories are much more interesting and much more engaging than even fiction. So I like to read history, whether it is racing or it's World War II or that type of, or history.
Have you ever read the book The Arsenal of Democracy by A.J. Boehm?
Well, that's a famous book. I haven't read it, but I wish yes, I would love to read it, but I know what it is, yes.
Yeah, definitely should read that book. A.J. was a guest on New Year's Day here. He was a guest a couple years ago. He has a new book out called 100 Dream Cars. It's a bunch of stories from his writings in the newspaper, but The Arsenal of Democracy is just an amazing book, and I think it really gives justification to Ford and what they did, and the son of Henry Ford, of course, and what he did during World War II. So check that out, listeners. I'll make sure I put a link to that on Hector's show notes page.
I understand it is the book is about how America turned into a big war machine to combat the Nazis and the Japanese.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible book. it has some history that I had no idea ever even happened. So I think it's great. All right, we're up to the checkered flag here, and this last question can be a bit of a doozy. I'm going to buy you a very cool collector car today. In fact, I'm going to buy you any cool collector car or vintage race car, if that's what you want, that you can have. It doesn't matter who owns it. I'm going to park it in your garage. But there are some rules to my game that might make the way you answer this a little bit of a challenge. One is it's the only collector car you can have. You have to drive it. No garage queens allowed around here. And you can't sell it to buy a bunch of other toys with. So that little trick is off the table. What can I buy you, Hector?
I want the 1969 Matra MS-80 in which Jackie Stewart won the Formula One World Championship.
An F1 car. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, that the Matra, the Matra Cosworth, that Jackie Stewart. I really like that car.
Yeah.
But obviously I cannot drive it.
Well, you can drive it on the track.
Well, yes, I can drive it around the track. But if
you can vintage race it, yeah.
A car that I could drive, and I would like a Maserati 300S. The sports car, the Maserati.
Oh, my gosh.
It's also a race car, but I think that with the help of some friends, I can find a license plate somewhere in.
I think so. Yeah, I could help you with that.
Yeah.
Well, those are two pretty special cars, but listen, I've had a lot of guests on the show here. You're my 1,462nd guest. I can't let you choose two. You got to choose only one. So if you had to choose between the Matra or the Maserati, I know which one I would. Which car is it going to be?
Well, I think I will go with the Matra, with an MS. With the MS-80.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a diehard racer. So I would have chosen the Maserati because I could drive it on the street. But, I know why you chose that, Hector. You're a diehard race car driver. Awesome choice, my friend. That's an incredible car. Of course, incredible race car driver. Hector, you've taken me on a great ride today. This has been really fun. I want to thank you for sharing your stories. Could you offer us a little parting piece of wisdom or guidance before you race off down the track in that 69 Matra MS-80?
We are in a wonderful business. Car and racing is a wonderful business, and I think that we should enjoy. And those young people who are thinking about, what am I going to do after high school and all that, get into in our industry. It's a wonderful industry, and you will enjoy your work until you die. And and that's what I'm hoping. I'll stay around
for a long
racing and
time.
Cars and motorcycles and all that. So that's what I would give as a piece of advice.
How can people follow along with you? Where can they find your work and what you do?
Frankly, if you Google my name, Hector Cademartori, you'll find all kinds of. I don't have a working website per se, but I am very fortunate of having wonderful friends, including Tim Considine, who is managing the website Authors and Artists, which I share with other members of the racing community and authors and photographers, and Tim Considine, who, by the way, I would like to mention his book. I'm sure you've seen.
I've got copies of it. Yeah.
Well, what a book! What a book!
Yeah.
And so thank you, Tim, for helping with that website. But other than that, you can find me in the net in the website.
There you go. Yeah, just Google his name. Tim Considine's been a guest several times on the show here. His son's been on the show. His latest book series, I've got copies of those. He came back and talked to me about that. So, Tim's a good buddy as well. Listeners, you can find everything that Hector just shared on his Cars Yeah show notes page. I'll put links here. I'd encourage you to reach out, find out, check him out. Just go to Google and put his name in there, Hector Cademartori, Cademartori, and you'll find everything about him. Hector, muchas gracias, my friend, for being a guest on the show today. This has been really fun to get to know you better. I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to shout out to Doug Stokes, who introduced me to you. He's introduced me to some wonderful people, so thank you, Doug. Until you and I talk again, Hector, I'll see you down the road.
I have to thank you, Mark, not only for your time, and I have to thank Doug Stokes for introducing me to you and to your work, but also I'm very honored that I am in a group with such an incredible member of our sport of our
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
well,
you so
you're
much.
well placed here. You're welcome. You're welcome. This has been really fun. Thanks so much. And Happy New Year to everybody. Hey, Mark Green here from Cars Yeah. Did you know you can now see me on the Cars Yeah TV show? It's a weekly visit to some of my past Cars Yeah podcast guests, and I take you along for the ride. You go behind the garage door and into their lives, their businesses, and you get to see what makes them successful. With tens of millions of viewers, Cars Yeah TV is making its mark. Cars Yeah TV is available on MAV TV and Lucas Oil Racing TV. You'll find MAV TV on Direct TV, Fubo TV, Fios by Verizon, or you can stream it through Lucas Oil Racing Television online. And they said I only had a face for podcasting.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.